We've talked a lot about some of your new additions in terms of players and what you hope they bring, but you also have a new addition to your coaching staff this year. Just wanted to get your thoughts on Jason King and how he's fitting in with your group of coaches and you know what you expect from him as he joins your group going forward.
Yeah, Kinger's he's a bright guy, very smart hockey mind, diligent worker, fits in well with our staff. We obviously know him well from our time in Utica together. And I've always, from day one when I first met Kinger, I would have said he would be coaching at some point in the NHL, just with how he sees the game, how he works, how he communicates with younger and older players. So he's been a welcome addition to our staff for sure.
What do you think his greatest strengths as a coach are?
I think all of them. I wouldn't say one thing. He's a good communicator. He's got an extremely sharp eye for the game, not just during the game, but when he's watching video and breaking it down. And he's a good person. The players like him.
All right, next up is Jeff Patterson.
Hey, Travis, what can you tell us about the format for tonight? I know in the summer you used sort of the back end of some of these scrimmages to work on special teams, and with no exhibition games, I would imagine at some point you'll put in some special teams work. Is that something we might see tonight?
Well, we're just going to play a regular game today. If there's penalties, we'll call them. We might do penalty shots. We might not even do power play tonight. We had the whole morning skate, or half of it today was based on the special teams power play.
With no exhibition games, how much does it help that, for the most part, your top unit is back and was one that was a top power play in the National Hockey League? I know JT talked about it yesterday. He sees no reason why they can't get right back to where they are, but with no exhibition games, just having that chemistry to work on when you start the season a week from now.
Yeah, I think that's important. With that top unit for sure, they know each other well, and they had good success last year. They'll continue to build on it. I think, we've got a relatively young group there as well that will continue to get smarter and better on the power play as they get older in the league.
All right, next up is Ian McIntyre.
Hey, Travis.
Ian?
You told me a couple of months ago that sorry, I'm just muting that. You told me a couple of months ago that you didn't pay much attention to what other people thought your team should do, that you just every year you want to go into it and try and get better. Do you like the fact, though, that around the league, it seems, if you look at projections, a lot of people think your team has taken a step back? Do you think your players will respond if underdog may not be the role, but do you think your players would like that people don't think you may be as good as you were?
I don't know if like or not like is the right word to use. I think not overly concerned is a better word. Just take care of us, do what we do, come to the rink and be the best you can every day, and good things will happen. So, but I think there might be internal fire a little bit. It adds to that when people don't pick you to do as well as someone else. These are highly competitive individuals that we have in any locker room, and we look for people that are very competitive and want to win at whatever they do. So does that add a little fuel? Maybe. I know last year we talked about this a little bit at the beginning of the year, and we're not worried about what other people say or do. We're worried about what we do in our room, and continue to push ourselves to be better.
All right. Thanks, Travis.
Next up is Farhan Lalji.
Travis, I want to ask you about Nate Schmidt and just kind of his character. I think you might have addressed this right at the start of camp, but just, his energy, his exuberance, and just what his approach and personality does for your locker room.
Yeah, first of all, he's a good hockey player. You can have all the energy you want. If you can't play the game, that energy is not going to do you much good. But he's a fiery guy. Still getting to know him, but we liked what we've seen so far, not just with his energy, but his skill level and his which we knew coming in. He wants to learn too. He wants to fast track and know our systems. He's been on top of that since he got traded here, and looking forward to continuing to get to know him and watch him and work with him as a player as well.
Has he made you laugh?
Yeah, a couple times, but we like our guys to have fun as long as they're working hard and competing, which he does every day.
Next up is Jay Janauer.
Travis, good morning. Yesterday, watching the guys, I was impressed with the pace of play and the way that they were really bearing down. But you weren't also shy in letting them know that you wanted them to bear down on their shots on net, enough of the flybys. How vital is every on-ice session, Travis, with the fact that there are no exhibition games? A week today, you guys are starting the season. To me, it's like going to the Olympics and not getting a preliminary heat. You're competing for a medal right away. How different is it, and how vital are these 7 days?
We talked about that with our group, maximizing every part of the day. We're trying not to overload them. We're going to give them the rest that they need physically and mentally, but when they're here, they need to stay focused. And when you first come back to training camp, you're kind of excited. Your mind can drift a little bit, and we've been trying to remind them that, hey, it's going to be an hour skate. We need you focused. Every drill matters. Every little detail matters right now. We're not going to have time to go into games and work on maybe things that you normally do before a season. Simple details as stopping at a net or having a stick on the ice. We've got to make sure that we're doing that in practice right now, so we're ready to go in game one, which, like you said, is regular season. There's no exhibition, and even tonight, it's an important game. Even the morning skates that we're doing right now, they're really designed around a lot of detail work that maybe you wouldn't work on as much or as often as we are right now. But it goes back to that maximizing your time and maximizing every day.
I'm curious how a guy like Travis Hamonic, once he gets to leave quarantine, not so much being behind the 8 ball, but the challenges that are going to face him, Travis. And can you bring us up to date? Is he allowed to do anything during the 7-day quarantine? Like, can he skate? Is he working out, or like?
Yeah, he's on his own. I know he's a real hard worker. He's a guy that's in good shape. So for us, it's kind of like we got to wait and see how he looks when he gets here. And he's a veteran guy. They take pride in coming up and being in shape, and we'll just see where he's at when he gets here.
Thanks, Travis.
Thanks.
Next up is Ben Kuzma.
Hey, Travis. One of Juolevi's expanded roles in Utica last season was playing on the PK, and he got pretty adept at blocking shots. With a young defenseman at this level, though, is it something that aspect of his game that you bring along slowly, or because you're going to be playing back-to-backs and maybe 3 games in 5 nights, would a young player like that get an opportunity on the PK sooner than maybe in past years?
Well, there's only 6 defensemen. If he's one of the 6, there's a good chance that he'll be playing one penalty kill. I don't imagine Quinn Hughes is going to kill a lot of penalties. So there's only 5 left, and that's part of our decision making going in to putting our final roster together. He's still got to make the team for starters, and then he's got to make the opening lineup, and then we'll make that decision as we go along through camp to see how he looks in the games and certain scenarios in our practices when he's killing penalties. But I think we project him to be that type of player, smart, heady, bigger guy. Penalty killing is going to have to be in his repertoire.
Thanks, Travis.
All right, we have time for one more question. We're going to go with Jim Morris.
Thank you, Travis, for taking the time again this morning.
Hey, Jim.
When we were speaking with Anton Rusalul earlier today, we asked him about the whole Canadian division format. And he said he thought a positive would be raising the profile of some of your players, some of the young Canuck players in other markets, particularly in the Eastern markets. What are your thoughts on that? Do you think he has a good point there that maybe Quinn and Elias gets overlooked sometimes in the Eastern markets because of the lack of exposure?
I missed the first part of the question.
When we were talking with Anton Roussel earlier this morning, we asked about the whole idea of the Canadian division, and he thought playing so many games in Canada will help raise the profile of some of the younger, or some of your Canuck players, say like Elias and Quinn, that maybe don't get the same profile in the East, say, as some of the other players.
I don't know, to be honest. I'm not too worried about that. Both these players, they seem to have a pretty high profile already, and I don't think either one of them really cares how high their profile is. They're both humble guys. They know that those type of things come with being a good hockey player, and especially in Canada. And to be honest, I don't know how to answer that other than I don't think it really matters one way or the other.
All right. Thank you.
Okay, thanks.